Michael Turner had always been known as the kind of man who never turned his back on people. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, he learned from his father that loyalty was the strongest foundation a man could build his life upon. His father would often say, "Son, your word is your bond. If people can't trust you, you've already lost everything." Those words became a compass that Michael carried with him into adulthood. He became the dependable friend, the devoted husband, the tireless employee, someone others knew they could always count on. Yet life has a strange way of testing even the strongest principles. Michael's story was proof of what happens when a man who lives by loyalty is betrayed by the very people he trusted most. And what came out of that betrayal was not bitterness, but transformation, a change so powerful it reshaped his destiny. Michael had been married to Emily for nearly 10 years. Their love story was one of those small-town fairy tales. They met in high school, where Michael had been the quiet, hard-working kid, and Emily was the lively, free-spirited girl everyone admired. They seemed like opposites, yet somehow they clicked. After graduation, Michael worked 2 jobs to help pay for Emily's college tuition while she pursued her dream of becoming a graphic designer. When she graduated, they married in a modest ceremony, vowing to always stand by each other. Michael believed in those vows with every fiber of his being. He worked tirelessly at a construction company, rising through the ranks because of his integrity and grit. When his coworkers needed someone to cover a shift, he was there. When his boss asked for someone to lead a difficult project, Michael accepted without complaint. He provided for his wife, supported her dreams, and tried to build the life they had once talked about under the stars back in high school. But loyalty, when not reciprocated, becomes a heavy weight. Michael noticed the changes in Emily gradually. She began staying out late, claiming she had freelance projects or was meeting with clients. She grew distant, no longer laughing at the little jokes Michael made, no longer showing the warmth that had once been the center of their relationship. Michael, always trusting, never accused her. He believed in her the way he believed in loyalty itself. The truth came crashing down one cold November evening. Michael returned home earlier than expected after finishing a job ahead of schedule. He walked into their house, carrying takeout from Emily's favorite restaurant, hoping to surprise her. Instead, he found her sitting at the kitchen table, speaking softly on the phone. She didn't notice him at first, but when she did, her face drained of color. She quickly hung up, but not before Michael heard words that shattered his heart, words of affection meant for another man. That moment broke something inside Michael. But what was remarkable was not the anger or rage that many might have expected from him. Instead, there was silence. A deep, cutting silence as he set the food on the counter, looked at Emily and simply said, "I gave you everything I had, and it wasn't enough." Emily tried to explain, tried to shift blame, but Michael didn't raise his voice. He didn't beg, didn't curse, didn't plead. He simply walked away. That night was the beginning of a profound change. For the first time, Michael realized that being loyal to someone who didn't value it was not strength, but a slow kind of self-destruction. He had spent years pouring himself into a relationship that had already been abandoned by the other half. Instead of drowning in heartbreak, Michael made a choice. He redirected his loyalty, not to Emily, not to people who failed to appreciate him, but to himself. He focused on healing, on rebuilding the parts of his life he had neglected while trying to hold everything together. Michael threw himself into his work, but this time, not just as an employee. He began learning about leadership, about entrepreneurship. Late at night, while the house grew colder and quieter, he studied business books, watched motivational talks, and wrote down plans for a company he had always dreamed of starting but never pursued. His idea was to create a construction firm that not only built houses, but helped struggling families in the community afford homes. He wanted his work to mean something more than just a paycheck. His friends, who had once leaned on him, now saw the change. Michael was no longer the man who said yes to everything at the expense of himself. He became selective, investing his time only where it was valued. He stopped surrounding himself with people who drained him and instead connected with those who inspired him. It wasn't easy. There were nights when the loneliness was overwhelming, when he questioned if he had made the right decision walking away from Emily. But every time doubt crept in, he reminded himself that loyalty should never be given cheaply. It should go where it is honored, not exploited. Months turned into years, and Michael's vision became reality. He launched Turner Builders, a small but innovative construction company. His approach wasn't just about profit, it was about impact. He offered fair wages to his employees, mentorship to young apprentices, and affordable housing projects to families who had nearly given up on the dream of owning a home. The community rallied behind him. Michael's reputation for honesty and reliability spread quickly, and soon his company grew beyond what he had imagined. For the first time, his loyalty to his dreams, his principles, and his own worth was being rewarded. Meanwhile, Emily watched from afar as Michael's life blossomed. Her own choices had led her down a darker road. The relationship she had pursued instead of her marriage crumbled quickly, leaving her with regret. When she finally reached out to Michael, hoping for reconciliation, she found a man transformed. Michael listened to her apology, but his response was calm and resolute. "Emily," he said, "I don't hate you. I don't even wish you harm. But the man you hurt, the man who would have given you the world, he doesn't exist anymore. I learned that my loyalty belongs where it is cherished, not where it is taken for granted." Those words marked the final chapter of their story. Michael had not only moved on, he had risen above. Years later, Michael became known in his town as more than just a businessman. He was a mentor, a role model, a living reminder that pain doesn't have to break you, it can build you. His life became a testament to the truth that when you hurt a loyal man, you don't destroy him. You awaken a version of him that no longer seeks validation from others, a version that realizes his worth is not defined by how much he gives to those who don't value him. Michael's journey inspired countless others. Men who had once felt trapped in toxic relationships found courage in his story. Women who had doubted their own strength found hope in his resilience. He showed the world that betrayal is not the end but a beginning, a chance to rebuild, to rise, to become someone even stronger. And so the saying became true. Once you hurt a loyal man, he will not beg, he will not break, he will not chase.
He will change.
And that change will be the most powerful response of all.